Your thoughts are living, breathing things that play a huge role in your external life. So today we're going to talk about shifting your mindset and how you can change your life by doing these 5 steps that I'm going to discuss. Welcome to Grow with Grace. I am Grace, your host. I am a wellness advocate, creative entrepreneur, and self-development enthusiast. Welcome. If you're watching this online or through Spotify podcasts, hello. We're on our couch today. I've learned a lot of information that can help other people, and so I just feel kind of called to circulate that knowledge and help other people because I know how much it's helped me. And there's no gatekeeping here. So there's probably a reason why you clicked on this podcast or this video. It's because you're on a mission to change the way you think, therefore your reality and your perception and your life. And that's awesome. And that's already the first step to growing with intentionality. The reason why this podcast is called Grow with Grace is because I feel like if you want to change and become a better version of yourself, you have to grow with intention and you have to give yourself patience and grace. Also, my name is Grace, so that also might be a reason why this podcast is named that. But anyway, not every day is perfect. I still have days where I really have to start from ground zero and really work on myself and my thoughts. But you're building this muscle. Your brain is a little muscle, just like everything else. Your brain needs to be taught how to think. Our brains are so flexible. And if we begin to understand that we are in control of our thoughts, then magic starts to happen. So let's get into the 5-step plan for shifting your mindset. So the first step is awareness. Just being aware that you want to actively change the negative thought patterns and spirals that are coming in is the first step. Listening to me right now is awareness. With each of these steps, I want to kind of connect some solid knowledge and facts in order to understand it. Because for me, I love, learning about history or having some kind of psychological, concrete fact that backs up what I'm saying. There's this little scale called the Ultimate Consciousness Scale, and I can pull it up on my phone. This can also be called the map of spirituality. If you're believing in a higher version of yourself, God, the universe, you have to believe that there's something above you where you can transcend to a newer level, a higher level of consciousness. So as you see on this scale, if you're not watching this video, I think you can kind of see the scale. If you're not watching this video, it's basically a scale that shows the upward spirals and downward spirals of consciousness. So when we're vibrating and feeling in this sucked down low energy, this exists with shame, guilt, grief, fear is a big one. If your brain is so powerful to bring you into a downward spiral, then just imagine how great you can feel if you spiral upward. No one talks about spiraling in a positive way. Everyone talks about the downward spiral. Oh, I'm spiraling, help. If we're depressed about our job, relationships, your life, finances, if you're always thinking about these thoughts coming in as negative things that you can just never transcend, and if there's situations you feel like you can never move past, you're going to be in this lower spiral. So how do you spiral upward? I'm saying all this, but how do you actually begin to spiral upward? The first step, at least for me, is to be a little bit angry. Not in a unhealthy way. Be angry because you know that you're not meant to stay at this place that you're feeling. And fight for yourself. You are in this body, in your own brain for the rest of your life. You need to make it a safe place full of peace and love and joy. So get a little bit angry, get a little fire in you, it's not just like, oh, I'm broken, I'm down, I'm the victim. No, that's such an ick. Being the victim is such an ick, and don't do it. So instead of being the victim, we're going to get angry. What I like to do is, like, if I feel pent up and maybe a little bit sad, I need to get out and move. I go on a run. I listen to music. I do something. Your body was not meant to just, be locked in your cave in your room. You're not meant to stay stagnant. You have to get up and move. Our bodies were meant to move. Once you kind of get this fire, come to this place of neutrality and acceptance of the situation. And once you're past that, you're going to start feeling some peace and love and joy and enlightenment. And that is where you want to be. That's the upward spiral. And it just keeps going up. Once you're up there, everything is going to start looking a little bit more rosier. You're going to start looking at life with a little bit more of a kaleidoscope lens instead of like looking outside and being like, oh, it's raining and it's depressing. No, like you're going to start looking outside and just being grateful for the sun or the rain or however the world is that day. So use this level of consciousness and be aware of your thoughts. So that's my step number 1. Step number 2, listen actively to the stories that you tell yourself. The only way to shift your mindset is to really understand these scripts and these cycles that you keep telling yourself. I'm not going to pay rent this month. I am unlovable. I always fail at relationships. I always give more than I receive. I am not confident. If you're telling yourself these stories, your subconscious brain is listening to it and taking it as a fact. Your brain's like, okay, bet that's true. So let me rewire my reality to match my inner stories, my inner scripts that I'm telling myself. But you don't want that. You don't want to believe you're not confident. You don't want to believe that you're broke and you can't pay rent. Why would you tell yourself that if that's what you want to see in your reality? What I find is that, especially in your 20s, everyone kind of bonds over similar things. Like, oh, your 20s suck. I'm always poor. I can never find balance. I need stability. I have no stability. Everyone bonds over these common stories that we tell ourselves. But when this happens, I mean, you can listen, but you don't have to align and agree with that. You can still be telling yourself different while actively listening to other people that might be going through something or are venting. So actively replace the stories that you tell yourself with a better statement. Building solid mental habits is even more beneficial than external physical habits. If you decide to go to the gym for the first time in a year and you work out for 6 hours, your body is not going to love you the next day because it's not used to it. It's not a habit. Now, if you're going to the gym every day and you're doing the same routine, your body is going to be like, okay, bet, like I am expecting this workout. I'm expecting how to feel. Your body's preparing itself to go through that physical exertion. The same thing is going to happen with your mental habits. It might feel like the new stories you're trying to replace, the positive ones, they might feel like intruders. You might not believe it at first. It's going to be hard. I'll get into ways that you can really ground these new stories later. I would recommend starting with your top 3 limiting beliefs, which I can do a whole video about limiting beliefs. Start with your top 3 negative thought patterns or stories that you tell yourself. I would write these down, and then underneath it, I would replace these 3 stories with what you want to see and what you want to believe and the future version of yourself. You have to write down these stories now with these new mindset shifts. And you have to say it in the present tense, which might sound weird. Your subconscious mind listens. And so if it hears, I am making $100,000 a month, I can easily pay rent, money flows to me easily, I'm in a loving relationship with so many people, I have an awesome body, I am fit, I love myself. These are just a few ways that you can rearrange those negative limiting beliefs. You have to tell your brain, literally talk to yourself. You can say it out loud, you can say it in your head. It will listen. Your outside world is a byproduct of your internal thoughts. You have to rearrange these stories you're telling yourself to shift your mindset. That's step number 2. Okay, moving on to number 3. You can't expect to be a different person and change your mindset if you're doing the same things. You have to enable these new habits. This is something that is taught in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I would link a new mindset belief and a positive replace story with an external action. For example, if You want to believe that you're abundant and wealthy and rich and money flows to you and you're able to pay rent easily every month. I would link that with going on a run or brushing your teeth, so that whenever you do these habits that you already do every day, you're going to link these two together. This is kind of like classical conditioning. I don't know if y'all know Pavlov's theory, which is a theory that links an action with a behavior. So when a bell was rung, a dog would start salivating for the food they would eat at dinner. So we also work like this, and this is how our brains work. Pick a habit or something that you have to do every day: brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, making dinner, going to the gym, something you already do every day. Link with that new positive habit and that new positive mental story, so that your mental diet is going to flip. If you're doing this repetitively, your brain is so elastic and really good at retaining habits if you do this every day. There's a book by Jen Sincero. Her first book is called You Are a Badass, but she has a second book about habits, and I think it's proven to take 27 days to fully embody a new habit. That can be a mental habit or a physical habit. Time is not an excuse, because you're going to apply this mental habit into a routine and habits you already have. That's going to give you positive reinforcement to keep practicing these mental habits linked with the external physical habit. Step number 4, we're going to keep going. Glass half full mentality and actively changing your mental algorithm, what you're feeding your brain with. When I was young, my parents were always saying that I needed to look at the glass half full, and I never understood what that meant, because when I saw a situation I didn't like, I would immediately assume the worst. And our brains are actually wired that it's easier to look at the glass half empty. It's easier to look at the negative. It's actually a little bit harder to actively focus on the positive and the half glass full, which is why people fall into these spirals, which is I've done it myself. I catch myself being pessimistic and negative, and I'm like, why? What am I doing? Like, stop. Like, I can't tell myself this. No one wants to be around someone who is pessimistic and stagnant and looking at the glass half empty. And I also don't want to be around myself when I'm looking at the glass half empty. It's just not attractive in any way. And you want to be that light. You want to be that person that always has a positive mindset. You might have to be a little bit delusional to keep being positive, but embody that as your new normal. That's the only way you can be. I don't know if y'all go on TikTok or Instagram Reels or anything that has an algorithm. It's crazy when you see, you'll be talking about something and then an ad for the same shampoo will pop up on your TikTok. Or you'll cultivate your algorithm so that you're only seeing cat videos or videos about the same celebrity or the same artist. And you're like, wow, my algorithm is so specific. It's very interesting to look at these social media algorithms, because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And when you're seeing your algorithm cultivate in real time, that is what you're paying attention to. So that's what you're seeing in your outside reality. It's very important to learn the importance of algorithm, because as much as we're doing it on our phones, on TikTok, on wherever, we're also doing it in our brains. And our algorithm mentally is going to cultivate what we see externally. Instead of having a glass half empty and lack mindset, look at the glass half full and have a growth mindset. And then you're probably thinking like, okay, Grace, that's easier said than done. How do I do this? Maybe add a little sprinkle of delusion. Try to look at everything as working for you. I used to always be someone, and I still sometimes catch myself doing this, being like, oh, this is happening to me. This always happens. The world's against me. What if it's happening for you? Why do you have to keep looking at it in a negative way? And the universe is working towards you and for you. Yeah, nobody wants to be around someone who's stagnant and boring and has pessimistic, low vibe energy. That's just not someone you want to be. And when you catch yourself being this, it's probably easier to stay down there. You might start viewing the world in a negative light, and your mindset might be off because all you're doing is looking at negative videos. You're listening to emo negative screamo songs and like negative content. There's so much content around us all the time, every day, and it can be the best thing and the worst thing in the world. So start waking up And listening to happy music. Literally, Spotify, if you look up like happy, upbeat music, they'll cultivate playlists that have like lyrics that are actually positive and happy and they make you feel good. If you're listening to some like indie folk artists that are like talking about how their life sucks all the time, sometimes, you kind of want to be in that vibe and that's fine. But also, like, no. You need to start your day with positivity. So, yeah, focus on your mental algorithm. Number 5, in order to really get the ball rolling and shift your mindset, you can use all of these tips and tricks along the way. But sometimes you need a push that's going to really reprogram your subconscious mind, because your conscious mind is 5% of your thoughts and behaviors in your reality. So sometimes when you've been telling yourself a story for so long, it might take a while to really get in your subconscious mind and reprogram it. And honestly, people could say otherwise. For me, I personally believe that doing the meditations, visualizations, affirmations, doing things that your subconscious will listen to, even if you're consciously not aware of it, you will start to see a shift. You kind of just have to do it, and it might feel silly, because I know that when I first started doing those affirmations, like, I am confident, I am happy, like, just smile and like just be happy. It kind of sounds stupid and repetitive, and you're probably going to reject it because it's going to be like, whoa, this feels a little like hippy dippy or like too not like yourself. If you just stick with it and trust the process, however your trust in something looks, just keep that firm, because having trust and belief is the only way that any of this is going to work. Because if you don't believe you're going to change, then you won't. Time might be an excuse, but instead of doom scrolling on TikTok for 20 minutes, replace that with just meditating. And that doesn't have to be you sitting in silence breathing. You can look up videos, because meditating is hard at first. It's hard to focus on your breath because it's the same thing. It's a muscle. Your brain's going to like lose focus. It's going to wander. But if you keep doing it, you're going to find that the elasticity and the flexibility to bring your focus back to just the present moment in yourself is going to get easier. And once you master that, and you master the meditation, you master visualizing what you want your life to look like, this will become second nature. Throughout this whole process, just be open-minded and aware, and know that your brain and yourself is so resilient. It is not hardwired. We are learning, growing creatures, a part of the human condition. And sometimes life gets really hard, but there's a lot of beauty to it. And I feel like shifting your mindset, if you want to change and if you want to grow and be the best version of yourself, I feel like anyone could benefit from being actively aware of your mindset, because it's only going to improve your life. I'm just so excited for your journey. I'm on my personal journey too. I'm not just sitting here preaching to y'all. I'm telling you this because I've done the work, and I will continue to always do the work because I believe in it, and it's actually really helped my life and the way I view things. Once you do it more and more, it's going to become second nature. It's not going to feel so foreign. Strength and resilience and growth is such an asset, and it adds so much leverage to every area of your life. You can only benefit from this. So I had to get some water, but to go over the 5 steps we just talked about, in case you're taking notes and want to just outline everything. Number 1, awareness and the ultimate consciousness scale. Number 2, actively listening to the stories you tell yourself and changing those stories into better, more positive statements that you want to align with. Number 3, actively building resiliency and flexibility by linking a new mindset belief with an existing external routine that you already have. This was about Pavlov's theory in classical conditioning. Number 4, changing your mental algorithm into a growth mindset and half glass full mentality. And number 5, meditations, visualizing, affirmations, and believing in something higher, and trusting that there is a plan and that there is a process and it's going to work out. I just want this to be a safe space for people to learn and grow, because I'm a student at heart and I love learning. Therefore, I love to teach because I just love information, and being open-minded to that is just going to make you so awesome and cool. So thank you for being here. You can find me, Grow with Grace, on Instagram and TikTok. If you like this, please follow or subscribe wherever you're listening or viewing, so that I will be able to make more videos like this, because I love this and this is what I love to do. Thank y'all so much, and just keep giving yourself grace and keep growing. Bye.